I'm Dr. Jane Van Dis. I'm one of the co-founders of OBGYNs for Sustainable Future.
Climate and petrochemical effects on women's health, having spent a large portion of my career focused on equity in healthcare and its side effects on marginalized people. So women and girls are more affected by climate change. 130 studies published in this review in The Lancet found that women were 2.6 times more likely to die in heat waves, that they were subject to increased risk for domestic violence in climate events and catastrophes, and that food insecurity was more likely to affect women and girls.
It's not up to the individual, that it's really up to the politicians and the corporations, but yet we buy all the stuff that they make.
All right. Well, welcome to Environmental Coffee House. I am absolutely thrilled to have my new friend who actually doesn't live far from me, and we are going to have lunch. Jane Van Dis. Now, is it Dis or Des? Des. Just okay. Because I misspelled it. I had to change it because I did today, I have to admit. But it's great to have you. Thank you. Thank you. And
So great to be with you, Sandy. I love your show.
oh, thank you. I love your tweets. That's how I found you on Twitter, and the community. You're in the community, which is great. And it's not very often that I get to have conversations with OBGYNs, especially since I'm way past that. But let me quickly say hi to Kim, who is our moderator, who's with us, and say hi to Kristen and Annie Corpus. Hello, Karen Singing Way and Poppy, and everybody that's with us. We're going to get started. Teddy Cool, Looney Tunes, thank you all for being here. Let's get started. So,
Yay.
we are in a climate crisis. We are in a plastic crisis. We are in a time where women in the United States may lose a lot of the rights that I have over my lifetime fought for, especially when I was younger. We're in a crisis point. And I'd love to ask you about your background. How in the world did you get involved in all this? Your podcasts are excellent. You guys go over the most incredible points. We're going to show your website. So who are you, Jane?
Yeah. So, I'm just someone who started reading. My now 16-year-old twins were born in 2008. And I had this revelation, I guess. I was reading Elizabeth Colbert. I subscribed to the New Yorker, so I read her, and I read Bill McKibben. And when they were less than 1 year of age, I said, if the math is correct, I will not be able to take them to see the Great Barrier Reef when they're 18, either because it won't exist or because I would feel so guilty about spending the carbon to fly there. And when I did that math, I was like, shit, this is happening now. And, a lot of the decisions that I made, that I have made in my life, have been informed by the reading that I've done. I'm just an average person, but I tend to read a lot in science, and the science is very clear. So I guess I didn't really start to see an avenue for talking about it, though, as a professional, as a physician, um, until two things happened. One, I saw the way in which I was feeling changed by the deliveries that I was doing. I lived in Los Angeles for many years. My ex-husband is from there, and our hillsides would burn. And
Yes,
uh,
we followed all that.
I know,
Hmm.
and and there were times when I'd be like delivering a baby, and I would put the baby on the mother's chest, and off in the distance in the hillside, you could see the fires. And I was like,
That's
what
frightening.
the fuck am I doing? Like, what's
Yeah,
going on
exactly.
here? What's going to happen to that child? What's their life going to be like? How come nobody's talking about this? And then I started to dig into it, and I learned that, for instance, healthcare is, by some estimates, up to 10% of U.S. greenhouse gas emissions.
Quite a bit.
So we say aviation is somewhere between 2.5 and 4. So healthcare is
Phew.
3 or twice that size.
It's
And
huge.
then when you look at U.S. healthcare compared to other healthcare systems around the globe, while we have 4% of the population in the US, our healthcare system comprises 25% of all global healthcare emissions. So
Wow.
we're just burning through emissions like
Yeah.
nobody's business in healthcare. And so that flagrant waste and misuse, I think, it says a lot about Americans and the way that they live, and
Just
that
throw it
we think that,
away.
throw away. We think that
Carefree.
technological fixes are going to save us. We think the next new thing that we invent is going to be the thing that takes care of everything, instead of imagining that the things that we're doing are actually
Yeah.
adding to the
Oh, sorry,
this is.
but you got cat people here. I've got 7, so rescues. Look at that baby. Everybody in the chat's going to be like, "Oh, what's the carbon footprint of all these cats?" Right.
I know, she was a stray.
It's okay. All of mine were once. They
Yeah.
all were, or at least the last one wasn't a stray, but it was going to be. So that's sweet. It's sweet. She's a cat lady, guys. I don't know if I could find the cat sound. Here we go. There we
Mm.
go. Yeah, you
I
go.
love it,
Yeah,
Sandy. I
yeah.
love it.
So Jane, I have a question. Are you a doomer doctor?
Oh, I'm the doomiest of doomer docs. Yeah.
I
Maybe I
I
should
had to ask.
do a hashtag doomer doc.
Doomer doc, really? Because I know we're on Twitter together, and I never was on that X Twitter thing until I don't know last year, maybe a year, maybe 2 years. But it is addictive. But I have in our little community amazing people. You,
Yeah.
Alex Hale, who's going to be our guest, Elliot, who's been on with us, what, 4 times. I mean, just amazing people. And so it's my pleasure to have
And
met you that
Lyle.
way.
Have you
Oh,
had Lyle
Lyle.
on?
Lyle. Oh my gosh. Yeah, his book, Racing Towards Extinction. So yeah, definitely. Well, going back to the healthcare field, I am a medical cannabis patient, right?
Yeah.
Medical cannabis, which is fairly new, is so plastic intensive, it's
Oh.
pathetic. It is everything is plastic, and they have disposable vapes, which is plastic and metal. Everything's disposable. It's not just,
Mm.
oh, we go in there and we're going to give you this medical cannabis that's, grown. It's grown, but everything's changed into something. So it is a real problem in the healthcare field. And this is a burgeoning exploding business using nothing but plastics. I didn't bring anything in to show you, but it's insane.
Is it like a lot of single use stuff?
Oh, they're single use. It's the containers, the packaging. It's insane. And so I'm imagining because I listened to the last podcast with your partner. in your organization, which I want you to talk about, of course, but you guys were talking about the plastic use in gynecology and in medicine. It's not just the CO2, it's the plastic.
Yeah. Yeah, so the US healthcare produces more plastic than the entire country of the UK.
Wow.
It's profligate. And what I tell, so I give lectures at departments, mostly in the US. And and I say, like, as we saw with the tobacco script, big oil, they did their research, they did their analysis, so they knew
Mm-hmm.
that this day would come when we would have to decarbonize, right? And in the meantime, why not get the entire society addicted to plastic?
Plastic. I'm not
12% of all global oil.
glass.
Yeah, 12% of all global oil going into plastic. And you look at these forecasts, they're like, oh, plastics manufacturing is going to double or triple by 2050. No, fuck you all.
Yeah.
Fuck you and your fucking plastic. Let's put the toilet on that.
Oh, okay. Wait, we have to get. Okay, you're a natural here. All right, we're gonna let's do the plan. We're gonna flush the environmental coffee house flush of the day. Bye bye, plastic. You suck. I don't know if you saw that last video I made about the with the plastic shill, the guy that is.
Oh yeah.
He's trying to lie about how plastic is nothing like we're being told. It's all the media lying to us about plastic, and it's recycling, and oh my gosh.
Well, so what they do in healthcare, Sandy, is they will say that we need this single use because it prevents infection, when there's no data to show that, or the data is made up, just like they make up all the other data that they try and shill out. And then you have the big, organizations like the American Medical Association or the Joint Commission or the American Hospital Association, right. And they'd all just drink that Kool-Aid up. I have a scrub cap that's made of cloth. I have a kitty scrub cap, and I have like a flower one. And, they were like, no, it has to be this plastic disposable scrub cap.
But you can't wash it.
Yeah.
Don't they make two things like in the old day, tattoo things, machines? They put them in the, what are they called? The autoclave?
Yeah.
Well,
sterilize.
Is that gone now? I mean, medicine.
No, those things still exist. They just, if there's a way they can make a buck off of selling someone something. Yep. I'm a gynecologist, so we use those speculums, those medieval torture devices, and
cold.
So right? So Columbia University has a course. It's called Life Cycle Analysis Boot Camp, and I took the course. And what we wanted to do is we wanted to measure the carbon emissions of the metal speculum for use in the emergency department versus the plastics.
Oh, really?
And if you go to the plastic manufacturer's website, they have like this little emissions calculator, and it'll say like why plastic speculums have lower emissions than metal. Well, of course, a metal speculum uses more emissions to manufacture once, but you can use it then 2,000, I don't know how many times, a lot of times.
Back
right?
When I had reproductive health, I mean, you go to the doctor, it was always metal. And they always cleaned them.
Metal's more comfortable.
Oh, Lord. It's
anyway,
crazy.
If you go to their website, the plastic, they'll tell the consumer, on the website that there's less emissions. But they don't account for the fact that you have to throw that plastic speculum that you've used for 30 seconds away, and then it goes into the landfill. And what are the health effects of all the plastic in our water that's making its way into our testicles? Not ours, Sandy.
Yeah, last I checked. I don't have them. Well, yeah, and also think about the transportation and the supply chain for all that plastic, all those manufactured products, whereas the metal is delivered once, and the
Exactly.
electricity use in cleaning it is probably less, in
Yeah.
using the machines. Are hospitals going into renewable energy at all?
Well, some are. Mine isn't.
No, Rochester's not with it yet, huh?
Mine is like the largest employer in Monroe
I
County
know.
and probably the largest emitter. And I just keep knocking on the door and coming up with lots of things. One people don't realize, but 15% of all of a hospital's emissions come from the cafeteria.
Yes. They
And
come from the
so,
cafeteria. That's another issue in the hospital, right? And the food
right.
service, the whole thing. It's like do you think we're going to make any headway? Because it's capitalism after all, baby.
I don't know. I was listening to something today, and I was listening to someone else's podcast, and he said that in the Bay Area, the default in the hospitals is now plant-based meals.
The default?
Yeah, so if you
Oh,
if you want beef, which obviously has a lot of emissions, you can get it, but you have to ask for it. The default is plant based, and Sandy,
oh,
that is the healthiest diet. That is the best diet for our patients who have high blood pressure, who have diabetes, who are obese, who have cancer.
right.
A plant-based diet is absolutely the healthiest diet. So why aren't we serving it in U.S. hospitals? I'll tell you why. Big ag and big dairy.
Yeah. It's always big something with the business. Yeah, big ag, big dairy. That's right. So big plastic, we've gone over. Now we're going into big ag, big dairy, big everything. Big.
I just Vox actually put out this article today, and they said that I apologize, I didn't have time to read the whole thing, but it was
I
something
didn't
like
even pull it up.
it was something about where you're not allowed to criticize milk in schools,
Wow.
like
We're
like
really
you
screwed.
like you can't ask for oat milk at your elementary school. What?
Oh, that's sad.
Anyway,
It is. It's sad. But I don't see where we're going to. I don't see the changes happening. I mean, I don't see people in the groceries. I know they reuse the bags. And again, big corporations want us to blame ourselves when
yeah,
there's no choice. And then you go and make a choice to use a washable scrub cap that you can probably disinfect very easily, and you're told no.
yeah.
So, how do we fight all this?
Well, I mean, it's with everything. You got to get the corporate shills out of each other's pockets because, that's where the power is. But I mean, I think things can change. I do. I just don't think they're going to change fast enough, before collapse.
No, no, I don't either. However, I do like when we do talk about what we can do individually, even though it's not to give each other a guilt trip. It's just, I think, to make ourselves feel
Yeah,
better, like
exactly.
we're doing something, even though those somethings are probably, minuscule. But I loved what you talked about with your colleague. And you know what? I'm going to show you the websites so that I'm going to change us. Hang on. Okay, we're going to screen share and we're going to look at your website here first.
It's
And
very low
this,
tech. Like I do it. Like nobody does it for me. It's like low
well,
tech.
I thought it was great. Alexandra Melnick, I listened to your podcast today with her. And again, I forgot which one it was. It was only 2 months ago. Guys, I'm going to put the link. I will put the link in, but it was excellent. And I think
Aw.
your voices definitely need to get out there because there's not too many people in medicine that are talking about what you are. I don't think. And so these are great. And look at all the webinars too. OBGYNs for a sustainable future. Webinars, the intersection of vector-borne illness, climate change, and pregnancy help. I mean, there's, you all right. The one word I want to talk about is
Yeah.
OBGYNs for a sustainable future. What do you feel is a sustainable future now?
Well, I'm a big fan of Bill Reese's work.
You fit our channel so well.
Well,
Yeah.
I think a sustainable future is one that uses a lot less energy than we use right now.
Yeah.
Um, so it's funny that you mentioned, because I did a show today on the local. It was a combined TV video radio show, WXXI.
Which I
You can
missed.
Yeah, you can listen. It's the radio is streaming on their website now, and the TV show, it'll be up. It's the same thing. It's just, you can see the video. But the topic, so Jasmine Singer, she's a reporter, and she found me on this flightfreeusa.org website. She was looking for someone in New York State that had signed a pledge to not fly. And I had signed that pledge a couple of years ago. And so when she found out I was in Rochester, she was like, woo woo. So anyway, I went into the studio today and we talked about aviation. And it was
I
interesting
have to hear it.
because we had callers, right? We had callers and people emailing the show.
Mm-hmm.
And across the board, Sandy, everyone was like, screw you. We're not going to, how dare you say that
Wow.
anyone should cut back on their flying? And I was like, that we need to decarbonize by 40% by 2030, right? And so, like, if we don't stop one of any number of these things that we do that are highly energy intensive,
Right.
how the fuck are we supposed to get there?
People were
And,
that angry? Really?
huh?
They were,
Yeah,
it was
no, they
that much?
were. They were.
Wow.
They were. I was like, bring it, because I said, well, we're currently using in America the equivalent of 4.5 Earths, right? And so, there's not more Earth to consume. So, nature's going to bite us, and sooner rather than later. So you either can choose to dial back on your own, or nature will do it for you.
Nature's doing it for us. Look what we've just seen with the exacerbated intensity of the tornadoes down in Texas and in Oklahoma, and the ferocity of the convection itself, and the damage, and all of the damage of the new homes, which are, we're just going to build new homes out of trees to get knocked down and put into landfills.
Sandy, I saw on Twitter someone said that one of those tornadoes, the debris went up 40,000 feet.
Insane, huh? Yes,
40,000
40,000
feet
feet all
in
over,
the air.
all over. I wonder how
Your
many.
microwave is at 40,000 feet.
Yeah, and your pets. Or we never hear about, well, we haven't really, there's a lot of farm animals that are being affected by
Yeah.
the tornadoes, but by the heat too in all the other countries.
Oh, and all those dogs in Brazil. There wasn't anything about the cats. Did the cats survive that flood? I don't think
I
so.
I don't know. It's just, people don't, they talk about the human casualties. They don't always talk about the animal casualties, which I always find the pictures from even the war casualties, the pictures from people trying to escape in Ukraine or in Gaza with their pets. Just that puts the humanity on them. But I know we're skipping around a lot. I suppose that's what we're just really.
It's Friday night.
We
It's
sure
Friday
didn't.
night.
Yeah, we didn't script it. We really didn't. We just wanted to have a conversation. And, we've gone through this plastic and we're going through the tornadoes. What do women come to you? So seeing all this stuff, are people understanding your patients? Do they understand what's happening? I mean, they're having babies, bringing babies. Are you still delivering or are you just teaching? You're still
No, I deliver.
Okay.
Yeah, I was
So
delivering last night.
okay. So women are still having babies.
Mhm.
They're still, but are women cognizant in, let's say, in our area, our Western New York, are they cognizant of the enormity of the issue,
No.
the predicament, really?
No, what I think happens is that people get little pieces of information here and there, and they have a mental model of, like, when it might get bad, or how it's affecting people in other countries or how it's affecting people in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
But I don't think I don't think people are I don't think people are on the right timeline. And so
It's far away. The
yeah, it's far
2100.
away.
Although we don't see 2100 anymore. It's 2050, 2030. And the literature is changing, but not the normies out there.
No, and I have to say, shout out to Elliot Jacobson. I love it when he puts up his little climate casino, predictions.
Yeah, every day. Oh, well, no, I don't know are they every day, but he
I'm
does
almost
them every
always an
day.
over. I'm always almost an over better. And then he's always making fun of the over betters, right?
You're an over better. Oh, he would be fun to have on with a show with you. He volunteers for Planned Parenthood.
I know.
He's an incredible person.
He recognizes that the only way we get through any of this is in part to dismantle patriarchy. My God, that shit has got to
Yeah,
go.
and that brings me to the other website. Hang on, let me get back over there. The other website, the overpopulation.
Oh yeah,
This one.
yeah,
Now, this I had found it through yours, but why don't
yeah,
we talk about this now? Population balance, since you are an OBGYN, and I just
yeah,
asked you, are people noticing any of this? Go ahead and tell us about this and your views on how
yeah.
we do educate women, because your views are exactly like mine.
Yeah. So in January, I was cruising along the internet and I happened to find a class at Antioch University, New England, Antioch, New England. And I can't remember like where there is a physical campus, but I can't remember where it was. But anyway, there was a course about pronatalism. And for the longest time, I've wanted to be able to write an editorial for my fellow OBGYNs about the way in which, when we talk about reproductive justice, which for the most part is solely about the individual's choice, the individual rights, and obviously I adhere to that. Having said that, I don't think that women, when they think about their decision to have or not have a child, and granted, that's not a choice that's available for all women in the United States
Oh,
now.
or in the world.
I don't think that they necessarily understand the ways in which pronatalism has lacquered the decision, invisible in like an invisible layer of propaganda around whether or not someone should have a child. So I will point out the 4B movement. Have you heard of the 4B movement, Sandy?
No.
Okay,
Wow.
so the 4B movement is coming out of South Korea. So South Korea's fertility or birth rate right now is at about 0.7. So
Okay.
if you imagine you've got two individuals, for every two individuals, there's zero point 0.7 coming down the hatch. And so the 4B stands for the B stands for the word no in Korean. And so what these women in South Korea have said is that they don't want to date men, they don't want to have sex with men, they don't want to have families with men, because they're sick and tired of the patriarchy. And the patriarchy has a lot of interest in women's bodies, and controlling women's bodies,
Oh,
right? And
yeah, I sure
so
do.
these South Korean women are like, no, until and unless you guys get rid of this patriarchy, we're not participating anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. I spend a lot of time on TikTok when I'm at the gym, watching these 20 something TikTokers. But the point is that if you want to have a child, that's totally your choice. Having
Mhm.
said that, make sure that it's not a choice that you feel pressured by your mother-in-law, by Elon Musk, who says that we have to have more humans, and we know that what he means is more workers.
Workers.
and more consumers. The Pope, religion is another
Oh
famous
yeah.
pronatalist organization. So there's lots of people who want to make sure that women stay pregnant. Um, and if you want to be pregnant, that's totally great. That's your choice. But let's take some of that lacquer off. Let's do some analysis of why all these other people are interested in making sure that we have babies, whether we want to or not.
Yeah, I like it. And I like your voice on this. Definitely is so important.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's a difficult subject. I've listened to Paul Ehrlich being interviewed by Nandita on the population balance. I've listened to him being interviewed by Nate Higgins. Um, and he wrote The Population Bomb
Yep.
back in 74, 76. And obviously, he didn't anticipate the Haber-Bosch equation and the Green Revolution and the ways in which we would have all these fertilizers and genetics and have higher productivity levels than he anticipated. But at the same time, the limits to growth that he
Yes.
referenced and that he wrote about, all of that is still true. I feel like all that's happened is that the crash is we have farther to fall now
8
than we
billion
did,
plus.
right, than we did when we were at 2 million. So yeah, I think that the best possible person to be able to talk about this is someone maybe like myself who lives it every single day, and actually someone like myself whose career has been grounded in fighting for women's reproductive justice. I started a medical students for choice chapter at the University of South Dakota. Yeah, that didn't go
Great.
over well. Uh,
In South Dakota. Yeah.
they punished me pretty severely for doing that.
Really?
Oh yeah, oh
Wow.
yeah. But you know,
That's awful.
you there's been a lot of people who've been interested as well in especially being coercive, whether it's the Chinese or other nations that have tried to manipulate the population for this aim or that aim. There are ways to talk about population that are not coercive, that are fundamental to ideas about justice. But we can't not have the conversation because we're scared that if we say something, it might be perceived as racist. That's not going to help us any if we're just sitting in the corner, scared to talk about it.
Hey, that always gets me when people say, "Well, oh, that's, Planned Parenthood, that's a eugenicist organization." And I cannot look at the history. Fine, it was a lot different back then. Margaret
Yeah.
Sanger had different ideas, but in the long run, it's been a wonderful organization for female empowerment. I know
Yeah.
from high
So many.
school. I was
So
thankful.
many, so many women and girls get their cancer screening there. They get their, and men too. Men can get STI treatment there as well. A huge amount of our population has no employer-sponsored health care, right? They designed it that way, right? They set us up to work 20 hours so they don't have to provide health care. And so where are people supposed to get their health care?
Right.
Obviously, there are some government clinics. The Republicans would love to shut every one of those down.
All of them.
So Planned Parenthood is a lifeline for a lot of women. I used to volunteer there. I mean, it's incredible what they do.
It is, and I'm really grateful that Elliot is such a cool guy that he does that, because he does understand that the way towards lowering population is through empowerment and eliminating the patriarchy, which I just don't see how that's happening for women around the world, religiously oppressed. It's a conundrum. It really is. But education has to be the key. African girls, Pakistani women, all every country, it's education. So it starts
Yeah.
somewhere with a voice
Yeah.
like yours.
Yeah. Well, I saw an article the other day, Sandy. It said that in the U.S. Last year there were 300,000 child marriages. Now, here's a question to ponder. Here's something for the audience to think about. Of those 300,000 marriages, when you think about who's getting married, are those child marriages? Are those older women marrying young boys?
No, it's
No,
typically in
no, no.
it's they're in different sects of different religions.
No, but it's about controlling reproduction. And I
Sure.
actually think, and I'm going to write a book, Sandy, but I
Good.
want to write a book about the ways in which our society and fossil fuel companies have allowed us to think about cheap labor, right? Because 1 gallon of gas is worth what, 450 hours, right, of human labor. Um, in the same way, the traditional wife is worth X number
Oh my
of
goodness.
hours of free labor.
Yeah.
There's a way in which our society treats, fossil fuels the same as we treat our women and girls, which is to control them, to exploit them, to have them work
Broodmares.
for free. So anyway, I'm gonna go down that rabbit hole and see what I can
I
find.
like it. I'm glad you're going down that rabbit hole. It's a much needed rabbit hole. And somebody has to counter people. There's I know there's a lot of women out there that are working to counter these narratives, but it's pretty sad when social media is just filled with these young women that are talking about being subservient to
Oh,
their
like the trad
husbands.
wife thing?
Uh, The what?
The trad wife?
The trad wife? Well, maybe. I don't know what to explain that name because I
Oh,
might.
it's like on Instagram or TikTok. It's like where a woman films herself making cheese from scratch.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. Well, I'm responding to a few video channels that I see on YouTube. One, and I can't remember, but she goes through and she talks about these channels that are all evangelical women talking about having
Mhm.
children and
Oh
being a
yeah.
housewife and not working and all, and how they want to. They're being told that going back 50 years to pretty soon we'll have bonnets on. God. Well,
Sandy, I got my New
Project
York State
20.
pistol permit. I'm not wearing no bonnet.
Good for you. What a pain in the ass that has to be, though, to do the background, but it's a good pain in the ass. New York is better. I never did. I didn't get it. I have two shotguns, but I have protection here. I don't go out anywhere, though. Everybody knows it. Nobody's going to come here. So, two of us. See, everybody, oh, they want to take away your guns. I don't think so. I think we just
No,
want just like everything else, responsibility.
that's right.
And
Plus, they just say that shit because they want to be a victim. Every single thing that comes out of Republicans' mouths is about being a victim of something
And
or
fear porn, fear porn,
yeah.
fear porn. Today I heard, I didn't want to hear this, but I did hear, I know everybody's talking about Donald Trump, but I did hear part of what he said. He is so racist about people and coming here, that how they are sending the worst. They're sending the gangs, Venezuela. We're begging them for oil, but they're opening up their mental hospitals and prison. It is really a sad, sad predicament we are in this country. I mean, sliding down, taking women's rights away, overwhelming us with plastic, corporate personhood. My gosh,
Yeah.
where do you start? Where do you
Yeah.
start in your book? Let's say, where are you going to start in your book?
Well, I mean, I obviously have my role as a physician, and I use my voice on social media, and obviously in the individual care that I take for women and their families. But I also am in a point of privilege. Physicians are well paid, so I mean, I give a lot of money to those climate defiance folks. I love that. I love
Oh,
the stuff that they do.
I just opened they have a job for an operations person that is like, if I was younger and not so messed up, I'd love it because all the experience that they were asking is everything I've done.
I know,
So
right?
cool. Yeah.
they're young, and they go in there, and um they fuck shit up, and the other day it was Brian Moynihan from Bank of America, and they're going to disrupt
Good.
uh that congressional baseball game. I love the thing they did on Nantucket last summer. I don't know if you saw the videos there.
Yep.
Uh the governor of Massachusetts was out there on Nantucket for a fundraiser, and they videoed themselves confronting some of the liberals. I mean, these were the governor of
Hmm.
Massachusetts is a Democrat, right?
Hmm.
And these liberals were older, Tony liberals or whatever. They were getting in the face of the climate defiance kids and saying, like, you don't know how to protest. Back in my day, blah 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 blah, and
Oh,
and
really?
you could just see these Tony liberals just dripping with there's a right way and a wrong way. No, there's not a right way and a wrong way.
No.
The right way is to disrupt shit, to get attention, to talk about fossil fuels, to talk about climate, to get attention. I know a lot of people, they don't like the soup. Okay, fine. What do you like? What is the right way to protest about fossil fuels? You tell us.
Yeah, exactly. Civil disobedience is what
That's right.
they are doing, and and people don't like it because it makes them uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Well, people
So,
don't. I find that most people I talk to that are not as we are on this channel, whatever, they don't want to face how scary it is. It's the fear. That's why I bring people like Carolyn Baker on to talk and have and Karen collapse support, because to have a
mm,
place for people to go with these fears. But we need more and more of that also. So what your brand of activism is great, because you're in a privileged field, like you said. You've gone to medical school. You're a doctor. You're communicating just what we need to hear now. You're countering a narrative that's poisoning the well. This country, anyway.
yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking that I want to talk about what it would mean to have true informed consent. We talk about informed consent for surgery. I've been connecting with Carter Dillard. I don't know if you've heard of him. He talks about, well, what are the rights of children? Do children have the right to be born into a world
Mm,
where they have access to fresh water?
right.
Like, should that be a right?
Mm-hmm.
And so basically, kind of making sure that women have all the information that they might need, and obviously have control of their reproduction. And then, obviously, if they choose to have children, again, great. If they choose not to, great. But give them the information that they need to make that decision in
Absolutely.
an informed way.
Absolutely. That I mean, you could articulate it much better than I have tried in the past, but it's all empowerment. But it's the same thing as empowering people to make better choices in products. I mean, we're still a consumer society. We're still
Mhm.
in the system. Give us choices.
Yeah.
And it seems that we're moving away from choices. When people make a big deal and lie, well, they're taking your gas stove. Or, like I heard, again, I make another stupid Trump reference, how he said, you can't have cars. You're not going to be able to have cars. Or they're going to be China cars.
Kind of
Who?
gross.
It's not.
Honestly, have you seen those Chinese EVs? They're incredible.
I haven't, because where I live, everybody has pickup truck. But
No, I haven't. I mean, just on the
on
online.
the
I've seen them
online,
online.
well, I guess I no, I actually haven't taken the time to look yet, but they are incredible.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're like, I mean,
A
they just
lot
they look
cleaner.
they're a lot cleaner. They like do more stuff for you, and they look like super fun, Jetson style or whatever. Um, no, I mean, it's like, it's anathema. You can't say anything good about the Chinese, otherwise, I guess you're a communist. I don't know.
Well, they're calling us communists. We're
They're
commies
calling, yeah, they're
anyway.
calling
We're
us
commie
anyway.
socialists. They don't even know in the Nazi word, they don't even know Z was socialist. The word
Right,
socialist, the
right.
national social. Oh my god.
Yeah, free healthcare, clean water, communist. Okay, whatever. I'm a communist then.
Yeah, well. All right. I suppose we can all say that if we're all socialists in a way, at least on this channel. And I think a lot of socialist thinking, probably Bernie Sanders type democratic socialism. At least I
Yeah.
am. I'm a progressive. I want to pull up something that I'll find it. Hang on. Again, I'm always looking or trying to find something. Screen share. Okay, this was from a is it up?
Yeah.
Can you guys see it? Okay.
Yeah.
So this was from an article. I don't have it pulled up, but I thought it was interesting. And I where did I see this on your the population, the overpop? I thought it was great because the middle of it,
Yeah.
population growth, imperialism, extractive relationship with nature. Let's talk about this because it really does. It really is a great example of what's happening and what we have to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that I know Phoebe Bernard was on that paper
That's
and Bill
it.
Bill Reese
Yes.
was on that paper too, right?
Yes. Yes. I didn't pull it up, but I will put it in the notes.
Yeah. I mean, to me, I my mind was blown when I read is it Ramsdorff? I forget who the Swedish
Oh,
guy is
Stephen Ramsey.
that has the planetary boundaries, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I mean,
Mm-hmm.
to me, like these are math questions, right?
Yeah.
Um, these are questions about the Earth's energy imbalance, about the amount of minerals that we have available to make these batteries for our cars and for everything else. I mean, everything is not limitless. Everything actually has limits. And so how do our choices about what we expect or want or design in a society, in a human society, how do those choices affect our ability to have good soils and have regenerative ag? So to me, I loved this paper because it talked about the math of the finite equation of how you build a society, recognizing its limits.
Oh, I wish I pulled it up.
What was your takeaway from the paper?
I didn't read the whole paper because I didn't have time today. I pulled this out because I thought this was a good point.
Oh,
I
it's a
have to read
beautiful
the
visual,
paper.
yeah.
I am behind. I was listening to your podcasts today. But I thought this was great because it has a pollution, social inequality, biodiversity loss, disease, climate change, all from these three, the nucleus: population growth,
Yeah.
imperialism, extractive relationship with nature. I will definitely have to get that. I'm so sorry that I did not get
No,
to the
no,
whole
it's
paper
good.
myself. But look at everything happening is the plethora of predicament: wildfire, deforestation, regional water crisis, zoonotic disease. I mean, you just have to show this to anybody that's wanting to have a kid. I don't know if they would understand it, but
Well, Sandy, I think you point to something really important here, and that is that ecology is like a class that you can take as in college. It's not necessarily a fundamental idea that you get taught as a kindergarten and get
right.
taught every year thereafter, such that by the time you graduate high school, you understand this pentagon and you understand all of the elements within the pentagon and how you live in this society and how it's
This
how
should
it
be.
can be extractive or it can be regenerative. And so when I listen to ecologists now, I think to myself, damn it, why didn't I learn this when I was a youth? And why isn't this required teaching for
Uh,
every single child around the world? Because if we actually had this type of knowledge, I mean, you have to assume maybe we would make better decisions. Instead, I feel like this knowledge, it's on the shelf, and if you're smart enough in college to recognize that it might be something cool to study, then you'll pick up on it. But obviously, you can easily go through life and never understand any ecological principles at all.
At all. In high school, it has to start earlier. It has to. Although, again, the way we're going in our country with book banning and all of the shift to such a right-wing conservative, like you said, patriarchal society, kids aren't even going to know what the word ecology is.
No.
You can't even say climate change in Florida. I mean, this is a big problem. It's huge. We live in New York right now. We're okay, even though I live in very red New York.
Yeah.
Very red New York.
I've driven through parts like that. No, I mean, I think, what I said on the on WXXI today was, nature bats last. Nature's gonna strike back. And we have a choice. We have a choice. Do we want to degrowth intentionally? Do we want to make decisions with volition and planning, and have some agency or freedom in those choices? Or do we want those choices made for us when nature strikes back? And to me, it looks like we're going with the nature way.
Nature's going to strike back, and we will have no choice, just to be, well, sustainable. I look at sustainable, the word in the group, as, for me, sustainable is being able to grow my own stuff, my food.
Yeah.
Not everybody can do this. I mean, this was a whole thing. I don't know if you saw that thread on X with Jimmy, and he was saying how not everybody could do this, but yes, there are examples of places that Detroit has a whole program. They're taking all the building lots, and they're making them into food forests. This should be an example for every city.
Yeah, that 1,500 acres, right?
A lot, but it doesn't have to be just privileged people that can grow food outside. It has to be made into a thing where people can have those sustainable practices as the shit hits the fan. I mean, we're going to have losses. We're already seeing losses, in life from these tornadoes. Not huge losses, but we're seeing those bigger losses are in other countries where most of us, we don't see it. Papua New Guinea.
No, but I mean, do you follow Brian McNulty on Twitter? He's at the University of Miami. He's a hurricane and ocean specialist.
Brian? What's his last name?
McNulty, McNoldy.
I probably do.
He's basically like the Elliot Jacobson with graphs just for the Atlantic.
Okay.
But I mean, he's a great follow, as is Jeff Bernadelli.
Jeff. We actually have had Jeff as a guest way back. Jeff, right? Antonio Reed interviewed Jeff. That was many years ago. I think even before he had his PhD.
Very cool.
He's great. Yeah, it was a long time ago, but he's great. Terrific. Yeah, there's so many good people. People say, oh, well, Twitter sucks and it's horrible. But not when you know how to look for the right people and know how to exclude the garbage.
If you look at trash, you're going to get trash.
Right. Actually, I was bitching because there's a lot of porno on Twitter that I didn't know. And so, it popped up. I don't know. I put some hashtag in something I was trying to share. I don't remember, but it came up and it was graphic. No, I said it on there. I'm not a prude, but it was kind of shocking that, all right, so they want free speech, but are kids, able to see Twitter? I don't know, or X. It was kind of shocking, but you can avoid that stuff. Yeah. And so we stay in our little area of it, so we can have these conversations in these threads. Phoebe
Yeah.
Bernard, she's wonderful. There's a lot of amazing people. And it used to be Facebook was the big thing. And I don't know, it's kind of vacillates between. Now we're live streaming on Twitter,
Mhm.
X, Facebook,
I
YouTube,
saw
and
that.
Twitch.
I told my daughter, I was like, I'm on all the channels, bitch.
Twitch, bitch. You're on the yeah, okay, you're on all the channels. That's funny. All right, well, let me see. We've been an hour. So let's bring the chat into this because everybody's chatting away and we've got 107 people watching. So uh on YouTube, let me find first of all, do I have questions? All right, we're going to go back. So we'll go back to what we were talking about first because I want to thank people too for their generosity. Nadia, autoclaves seem like the answer to a lot of things. It took me forever to track down 26
Millimeter Hagars,
millimeter
yeah.
Hagars, and it was still a 3 millimeter gap to the next step up in sole source. Also, forced birth is rape.
Yeah.
Fuck
The
the
Pope.
Pope. All right,
We
there
love
we
Nadia.
go. Yeah, we love
Super
Nadia.
chat.
Actually, I've convinced Nadia to be a guest. She's brilliant, and she's always participating in our Discord. So
I
thank you,
love that.
Nadia. She's here. Nadia's supporting me this week.
No such
Obviously,
thing as child marriage.
yeah, no such thing as child marriage. Girl, child, P4, P3. Yes. All right. One more, Nadia. Thank you. They just tell us to protest in an ineffective way. So that's when we were talking about the protesting. Yeah, because they don't want it effective. And it's
Right,
not
exactly.
when
Don't touch our shit.
well, when I use the word they, right now I'm thinking of the university presidents and how it was handled, which it shouldn't have been. None of these protests should have been handled the way they were. I worked on a university at a campus. Campus police could have handled this on every campus and it would never have exacerbated like it did.
That's right.
And become a media circus. There would have been people would have listened, but it would not have been sensationalized. The message would have gotten out, but nope, that's not going to happen. Okay, Cynthia P. Thank you, Cynthia P. Wonderful discussion. Thank you.
Thanks,
Well,
Cynthia.
it's all Jane. It's all Jane. She's got everything right on the top of her head. Okay. Nadia, always false choices, big money bets, sure things. Aha. And we've got one more. Thank you, Nadia. My gosh, Nadia, you're amazing tonight. Guy McPherson, yay! And she's in East Harlem in New York City. So she's a
I
New
used to live in
Yorker.
East Harlem.
You did? Oh, cool.
Yeah.
All right. So we've got our New York contingency here. All right. Now, let's see. Many of the young scientists I worked with when I went corporate for a year had decided against kids, and that was 10 years ago. Men too. Even more must realize it too now.
Yeah.
What do you think, Jane? Do you do tubals? A lot of them?
We do. Yeah. I think that a lot of young Gen Z is absolutely saying, I mean, obviously in states where there is forced birth, which is, what is it, 25 states?
The red states.
Yeah. I mean, in those states, if they can, sometimes you have to have insurance, right? It can get hard. But even in states, even in New York, yeah, people are more and more men are requesting vasectomies and more young women are requesting permanent sterilization because we don't want to birth for the state.
Wow. So, okay, then somebody's keeping the statistics on that.
Yeah. There's studies. There's an OBGYN here in Rochester. She became famous during COVID because it used to be that if you were a young woman and you hadn't had children, a lot of OBGYNs wouldn't let you get your tubes tied.
I know.
They're like, oh, you're going to regret it. And so she went on social media and she was like, not only will she do it, but she put together like a Google spreadsheet that went out on social, like so everyone could see in their state who would give them a tubal ligation or a sterilization without having had any children. So she was a one woman show. She really popularized that and got the word out that yes, there are OBGYNs who are not paternalistic asshats.
Good, because my daughter experienced that, who told me at 16, "Mom, I'm not a breeder." I don't know where she got it, but "Mom, I'm not a breeder," and she's not having children, doesn't want them, has a boyfriend, has a great life, but she had that experience and
Yeah,
wasn't allowed to do it.
right, exactly.
Oh my gosh. So there's so much to this. I mean, so much, so much. Okay, there was another comment I wanted to get to. Karen Singing Way, who's a climate communicator, a science communicator. She's a librarian. I often say we have to look to the past for methods of doing civilization without fossil fuels. It's not just about decarbonization, it's about getting systems in place to do this efficiently.
I agree. That's so good. That's so good.
Yeah, there's an episode with Karen. She did a training on the channel. She's terrific.
What
All
was
right.
her training about?
It was Karen. It was a program that it's actually for kids, for young adults. You know, you're going to ask me to remember something right now.
That's
And
okay.
when I have a pain day, which my neck is killing me,
Oh
my
no.
memory is the first thing to go. But she did a wonderful training, and all of a sudden it's not on the top of my head. But she'll put, oh, En-ROADS, that's it. I just needed En-ROADS Climate Solution Simulator. It's a terrific program, and it is.
Oh, I think I have seen that. I have seen that. It's powerful.
Yeah, it's powerful. It was a great episode, and she's got it on her own channel. Climate Agents. See, I didn't forget that. All right. Where are we with everybody? Does anybody have any questions? Oh, one more from Nadia. Wait a minute. Where are you, Nadia? I missed it. Okay, here we go. Patriarchy is 10 times old as capitalism. Tough.
Yeah. No, it
Well,
is. It's very tough. It's very tough to dismantle. Um, there's a great book out by Kat Bonahan, and it's called Eve: How 200 Million Years of Evolution about women's bodies, basically kind of making the argument that all of the ways in which the female body impacted the way that human civilization evolved, because we don't actually have super great birthing, uh, without midwives and without the ability to assist. A lot of our humans would get stuck and not make it out, and then both the people die, the
wow.
the fetus and the woman. So she makes the argument that midwifery and the ability to assist
Hmm.
in the birth really changed the trajectory of human species. She makes a lot of arguments about the way that other mammals have evolved and how they birth, and it's just the most fascinating book. But she actually spends the last chapter talking about all the ways in which the patriarchy uh, is dragging us down, and could be the end of our civilization if we don't uh, dismantle it. I mean, we got to
Could
take it
be. Yeah, well, girls, what are we going to do? Our pink pussy hats aren't doing it.
down.
Meow. Meow, meow, meow. Okay. Oh, my goodness. Antinatalism. Okay. Antinatalism and anti-patriarchy is good stuff. You know, Nadia, you don't always have to give me a super chat to get your
I was like,
comment up.
yeah, Nadia's just
I know. She doesn't. She knows she doesn't have to do that. She's the best. But she'll be on in a few weeks. So everybody, when Nadia's on, it's
I'm
going to
super
be,
excited.
what an amazing show that's going to be. Holy crap. She travels too for her job, even though we're talking about aviation. All right. Question. That's what she has to do. Is standing up better than prone for birthing humans?
I mean, that's a really great question.
Yeah.
I so if standing isn't actually that good, but squatting can be good. When anytime you are flex and you bring the legs back, you're going to open up the pelvis, and that's going to make more room. So whether you're on your back and you're pulling your knees toward you, or whether you're squatting, both those two motions, or you can be on your side and pulling your legs back, anything like that that opens up the pelvis is going to make more room. The problem with standing is that, well, first of all, you got to have someone you got to have someone down there to catch,
Play
right?
catch. Yeah.
um, I'll be honest with
Catch.
you, I love my patients, but not that much. I'm not really willing to get the poop and all the other stuff in my eye. So
I
yeah,
don't
we
blame
need to
you.
have some towels or something. The other
Washable towels, not plastic. Right.
the other problem with standing is that, so the way that you really rip the perineum, the space between the vagina and the anus, is with a lot of force, right? And the worst way
Ow.
to tear that shit open is with sudden movements. And so if you have someone, they don't have an epidural, and then they push all of the sudden, they can, basically tear a hole through both those things, and then you have one hole, and that messes up your anal sphincter, which holds your poop in, and nobody wants that. So to me, I'd love to have a more controlled birth where I can make sure that you don't have just one hole.
Tim Bob. Hold on, we're trying to snack.
Oh my God, it's 10:06 at night.
I know, right? Tim Bob is a filmmaker, by the way, and he has a
Oh,
channel.
cool.
So if you ever get to check him out, he makes incredible stuff, and he will use Guy McPherson's clips in and out of his music videos. Tim's really talented.
Oh wow,
Thanks,
that's cool.
Tim. Okay, let's see what else do we got here. Melanie had something. Oh, Melanie. All right. Well, the absolute numbers among the general population remain low. Roughly 4% of men report having undergone sterilization in their lifetime. The 26% relative increase in vasectomy rates means urologists must be prepared for more frequent family planning conversations.
Yeah.
So she
No,
found that
that's
somewhere. That was interesting.
Yeah, that's true. What's fascinating about vasectomies is that they can be done in an outpatient. I listened to a podcast. There's a guy, I want to say he might be in Texas, or maybe he's in Iowa. Anyway, he goes around in a mobile van, and he'll do the vasectomy like in the van, because
Oh,
there's a technique where you don't have to make a cut.
really?
um, yeah, it's super
Really?
fascinating. Google it. It's called the no cut technique for vasectomy. It basically, there's like not very much pain. Of course, there's no bleeding. Of course, it's really really quick. Of course, it's super super cheap. So if I have to tie someone's tubes, I have to put them under
Yep.
anesthesia, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
it's in the abdominal cavity, and how do I get there? The vas deferens,
Yeah.
you can see it with your eyes, you can palpate it
Wow.
with your fingers, and you can cut it really easily.
So men really out there, guys, do your thing. Do your part. I got a question from Donald. So Donald was saying that yes, he thought the birth rate was declining, and then he said if the birth rate is declining, that kind of goes against the chart that I had put up. Is the birth rate really declining? Like, is it statistics? Is it just what is the issue?
Yeah,
Because we
so
have 8+ billion people.
well, the rate is
Right.
declining, but the rate describes, rate is like velocity. It's still
Okay.
moving. It just determines the rate at which it's moving. So we still add 80 million people a year. Um, so it's not declining fast enough.
Okay. Not fast enough.
um, yeah. I mean, if we were all South Korea, if we all had a replacement rate of zero point 0.7, we would get there a lot faster. Mobile vasectomies. I love that. I love that, Devon.
Yeah, even I would imagine that there men that are in these states where reproductive freedom is being taken away, a lot of them are probably scared because of the, well, now you have to pay child support possibly to a fetus. You know, there's a lot, a lot here, a whole lot here. Oh, well, Nadia, unwashed, she's something else. Unwashed masses aren't supposed to get health care.
That's
Oh,
right. Healthcare is only for the
Lord.
elites.
That's what it's looking like.
Yeah.
Actually, I have to tell you, I lost from the University Research Foundation. They decided to take the retirees off the group plan and kick us off.
Wait,
We
what?
all, yeah, we lost our retiree health from the Research Foundation of the State University of New York decided to take the retirees who worked, we worked, that we earned that benefit, and
Yeah.
pay for it and kick us off and give us a health spending account. So they give us a certain amount of money, right? Now you have to work where you were working with one company. Now you're, which was Empire, which has now another name, but now it's four companies. The
Oh,
layers of bullshit in healthcare
bullshit.
administration. Now it's four companies. The one that handles the health reimbursement, and then I had to pick a Medicare supplement. I mean, it's insane. So now there's four,
The
and
layers of
the
bureaucracy.
layers of bureaucracy. And I was thinking, why did they do this? I was on the HR. I was on these teams. I used to sit and make decisions like this with people. Why? How much can they possibly be saving with all these other with this? I just didn't see the cost benefit analysis, especially when you're trying to attract talent and you want to have comparable benefits to SUNY, and you're now saying, well, we won't give you a retiree benefit, so you're just going to be a laissez-faire researcher, stay 3 years, get your sponsor program, and move off.
Hmm.
Nothing for anybody to stay to work towards. And I
Yeah.
think it was also because a lot of administrative employees worked and they got their time in. And so who are
Right,
they?
right, 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 right,
They're
right.
disposable. It's sad. Yeah,
Yeah.
so can you speak to a little bit about the healthcare issue, the insurance issue in the country, what you see, what your the staff goes through, the billing? Do you have knowledge of all that?
Well, I mean, I'm a big proponent of getting capitalism out of healthcare. I don't think stockholders should be making money off of people getting sick. I think healthcare is a human right. Um, I think private equity is driving the whole damn system into the fucking ground.
Oh,
The
man.
latest news there was
Music.
that in Florida, they passed a law saying that this private equity owned group could set up a clinic or a freestanding hospital. It's not like a real hospital. It's just they would do C sections, but it's not a hospital.
Okay.
And I'm just like, yeah, that's going to go well. We've seen what private equity did to the nursing homes.
Mm.
It kills old people, you know. Um, the idea that capitalism has any business in healthcare, in my mind, is farcical, and it's an embarrassment on the world stage, and it's a disservice to our country and our people. We deserve better. um and and then these politicians talk about cutting Medicaid, cutting Medicare. I I mean,
Pathetic.
I have lots of ideas about, you know, how to allocate, but the fact of the matter is, we need a few administrators, but that's where all the growth in the last 10 years in healthcare has been, is in
It is.
administration.
It
Uh,
is. And
I
and lawyers. And
yeah, I
lawyers.
mean, I think that I'm paid too much. I feel guilty that physicians earn as much as they do in the US. I don't, I mean, I have seen how healthcare providers are compensated in other countries. And the problem with dropping physician salaries is that unfortunately, these students, they graduate with, sometimes sometimes $500,000 of med school debt and undergraduate debt. Well, if you're going to saddle someone with that much money, obviously you have to give them a salary where they can pay it back, so they're not a indentured servant their whole life. So I think that education should be free and healthcare should be free, and then get the capitalists out of healthcare.
Yay. Gosh, music to our ears. I'm sure everybody's ears in this audience, for sure. Okay, let's see. And we are very interactive with our chat. College should also be funded by the taxpayers.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, debt slavery. Well, that's the name of it, right? Debt slavery also.
Yeah.
My this kid that does work for me, he is a contractor now, and he's doing roofing. His brother is a cardiothoracic surgeon,
Mm-hmm.
and he is paying, oh, I don't know, $3,000 a month in his student loans, or maybe more. And
Mm-hmm.
I asked Andrew, who did my roof, I said, so why didn't you go to school? You got a bachelor's, but you're a contractor. Just because I'm not going to do that. He did not want to go to higher ed and pay those student loans like his brother, who can't
Yeah.
start a life, even
Right.
because when you're first in medicine, you're not making the kind of money that people think, not right away. Like in anything, it's you always have to put in your time.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's see here. I had another one from, Tommyist. Will testicular microplastics take down the patriarchy? Tommyist, you're great. It could, right? All right.
I mean, yeah, these are going to really disrupt what the microplastics do is they clog the little arteries. They release harmful chemicals. They affect sperm quality and mobility. Yeah, they are a poison. So yeah, that's actually one of the reasons that I mean, we haven't talked about that. We've really just talked about voluntarily deciding not to have children, but fertility rates, the ability to get pregnant, those rates are going down also because of all of the pollution. And
Wow.
so, absolutely, we're poisoning ourselves to death with these fossil fuels. So again, nature bats last.
And it's not just humans, it's animals. It's the animal world.
Oh yeah.
Terribly. Gary. Love Gary. How does Jane see the impact of the rapidly shrinking human niche on Earth combined with the current human focus on violence as a go-to response to crisis? Can we create communities of mutual aid? That's a
Ideally, right?
That's a
It'd be
big one.
amazing.
Put some thought into this. Impact of rapidly shrinking human niche on Earth combined with the current human focus on violence as a response to crisis.
Yeah, I mean, I know that, and I'm sure the same for you, Sandy. In my community, I meet as many neighbors as I can. I, hopefully come to their aid and them to mine. That's the only way I think we get through this. But I am scared. I'm frightened, obviously, of people that don't see it that way, right?
Yeah. I'm trying. I ignore them, but for the most part, I mean, I can't. It's hard because we're now in an era of hate the other, othering, othering, blaming. Oh, Lord. Does Jane recommend the book Spiritual Midwifery from the 70s?
I don't know that book. I mean,
All right,
I'm
we'll have to
55,
find it.
but I haven't.
Really? You look younger. I thought you were
Oh,
much
thanks.
younger. Much younger. Well, I know my niece was going to be a doula, but I don't think she ever went through it. I don't know.
Well, the New York State is reimbursing. The reimbursement rates for doulas are high, so she might want to reconsider that because it could be a good source of
she's
income.
in Oregon.
Oh,
Yeah. Thank you, Nadia. Again, here's another book. Suggest the book, The Scientification of Love by Dr. Michelle Odent. All right. I haven't read that one.
I haven't read that one either.
And I want to read that article. I feel so bad that I didn't read the article. I lifted the graphic but didn't read the article. All right, guys, let's see, how long are we? We could go with this. Wow, we're an hour and 20 minutes. That's I'm getting to my sitting point.
My daughter tonight, we went out to dinner and then she wants to watch some reality TV. We're watching MILF Manor. Have you heard about it?
No, I'm sorry. MILF Manor. What channel is that on?
I think it's Netflix. It's
MILF. MILF. Actually, I have to say I was called a MILF in my life.
Yeah.
Back in the day. Back in the day. Now I'm a retiree with lousy health insurance. Okay, let's see. Anybody else? Well, guys. Oh, Dawn is saying it's still a classic, but she has no personal experience. The farm in Tennessee where it was written is still there. Somebody named Gaskin wrote it. All right, interesting. Very, very cool. Author Ramia Raima Baldwin, Special Delivery and Spiritual Midwifery. So we've got some pretty educated women in this audience.
We do. Really good
I
chat.
have to
Really good
say.
chat. High quality.
High quality chat. You guys are high quality. Definitely. I wish I was feeling up to my normal self, but I've done my best tonight. I have well, you're my Facebook friend now, so you could see all my pictures I put up of how I've pretty much killed myself to make my sustainable growing garden so I can can.
I love it.
food.
I love it. I garden as well. It's like my favorite place.
Me too. I love it. And watching last night we had a freeze. I didn't know it. And I was so pissed because a frost warning, and I did get damage on some plants. So I've got them in now. I didn't know. I went to sleep. I woke up at 6:30 in the morning. I look at the weather and I went outside. I'm like, shit. Tender little vegetation, they weren't ready to go in the ground yet. So anyway, what can I do? All right, guys. We got some music on. You all are wonderful. No, it wasn't a hard freeze, but it was bad enough that it wrecked some of my stuff that wasn't ready. Not ready. Thank you, Sandy. Nice meeting you, Jane. Yay.
Nice to meet you, Chanel.
All right. So everybody, it was great. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Thanks, Sandy.
I could talk to you all night. Oh, wait, Nadia. I have to do it. Right wing is so unhinged. Social dem concessions are vilified. Yeah, well, it is getting crazy. It's getting crazy. Oh, well, let me just say, Dan, it wasn't that bad. I mean, I have other things. I just have to now redo the seeds on certain plants that got damaged, or talk to them. Do you talk to your plants?
Oh, yeah.
Good. You're a cat mama and a plant mama. I love it. All right, guys. Well, thank you all for coming. It was a great talk. I hope you come back. But
I'd love to.
I'm going to put all the links. Everything will be in, and you can go. I had put quite a bit in there. So, and I'm sorry, I'm not on my best game tonight. I'm really not, but I did the best I could.
Of course. Well, thank you for coming here.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we'll talk again.
All right, my friend. All right, here we go. Good night. Woo! We get some loud music now.